Ehud Olmert is the former Prime Minister of Israel who served from 2006 to 2009. He's joining us live from Tel Aviv. So thank you very much indeed. You are one of those who've described these plans as a concentration camp. Now, I cannot imagine these are words that a Jewish person uses lightly. What has led you to use these words?
Well, I have to correct you. I didn't use these words. I say that I'm afraid that some will try to interpret it as if this is it, but it's not. It's bad. It shouldn't be done. But it's not a concentration camp and it's not a genocide. It's just a stupid, reckless, irresponsible, and something that may amount to a crime which should be prevented. And I hope that my voice and the voices of many Israelis will succeed to stop it. I think that the idea of a humanitarian camp is totally unbearable and unpractical. It will not help provide the humanitarian needs of the population. And the idea that you can deport 600,000 people from where they're supposed to live, in the north part of Gaza, into the south part, and then keep them segregated in the area which will be walled and they will not have a chance to move around, is just totally unacceptable. But this is not a concentration camp, and any comparison to the concentration camps as it is understood with an obvious association with the Nazis is not correct, is not acceptable.
It's certainly an impression that aid groups and other critics of this action have gained from that, not least, I think, because the population would be focused on one particular area of Gaza rather than spread out across the Strip. You've recently been a very outspoken critic of the Israeli military and the action that it's been taking during the war in Gaza. What has led you to that?
Well, I think that the initial reaction of Israeli military operation was unavoidable and inevitable. What Hamas did, starting this in October 7th, 2023, needed an immediate and very forceful reaction, which we had to take. And at the time that we started it, the international community, almost across the board, was in favor of it. President Biden, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, President Macron, Chancellor Scholz at the time, Prime Minister Meloni from Italy, and others all said Israel has a right to do it. But this was 22 months ago. And since then, a lot happened. And I think that we have achieved a great deal militarily. We destroyed the infrastructure of the Hamas military power. We eliminated most of the leaders, including Yair and Ismail Haniyeh and Mohammed Def and the others. We destroyed the launchers, the command positions, most of the rockets, and so on. And it wasn't easy and it was painful. But we have reached a point where no military operation can achieve anything which is worth the cost of the soldiers of Israel, the risking of the lives of the hostages, and the killing of many non-involved Palestinians, which are part of this battlefield. So at this time, what we need to do is to end the war and bring back all the hostages and then establish the international community, the Palestinian Authority, the moderate Arab countries, Egypt, Jordan, Emirates, Bahrain, including perhaps also the Saudis, an interim security force which will take over the practical control of Gaza in order to make sure that Hamas is in no position to continue the terrorist war and to try and administer Gaza, which needs a government, effective government. This has to be done in coordination with the Palestinian Authority. And any further expansion of military operation is totally unnecessary, and therefore I'm against it. I'm against it, and most of the Israelis are against it. And most of the former commanders of the Israeli army, Israeli Mossad, Israeli Secret Service generals everywhere, signed a petition calling the government to stop it. unfortunately, the government doesn't seem to want to do it at this point, and therefore we are against it, and I'm against it, and I'm criticizing it, but I don't stretch it beyond the reasonable limits. There is no genocide and there is no concentration camp. But this is a bad decision and unnecessary military expansions which cost the lives of many unnecessary victims, and we can't take responsibility for it. We have to stop it.
And the International Court of Justice has said that there are grounds to believe that a genocide is possible within Gaza. That was the court case that was happening back in January. I do want to ask you about the role of Benjamin Netanyahu in this critics.
Excuse me.
Yes,
I don't remember that the criminal court or the International Court of Justice say that it amounts to genocide. They didn't say it. Israel. They issued arrest warrant against the prime minister, and I mean the criminal court issued an arrest warrant against the prime minister and the minister of defense, but they didn't say that it amounts to a genocide. It's bad. It's bad. It should be prevented. But it's not genocide.
I should just repeat what I said. So the ICJ's ruling was that they have found that there were grounds to believe that a genocide could be possible in Gaza at that stage when the hearing was held back in January. That's what I said. Critics of Benjamin Netanyahu have repeatedly suggested that he's dragging on the war in order to stay in power, in order to avoid prosecution on criminal charges and corruption charges, I should say. What are your thoughts on that?
I share this opinion. This is something that has been said time and again by a large number of Israelis, prominent Israelis, people that were holding important public positions, government positions, army positions. We are all unhappy, to put it mildly, with the way it is handled by the prime minister. And as I said, there is no military objective which can be achieved, which is worth the cost of what is taking place now. And therefore, one must ask himself, why does the prime minister keep going? And there are many interpretations, and the majority of the critics of the prime minister think that he is doing it because of personal interest and not because it is a legitimate military objective which is worth the effort and the cost and the lives of so many who are unfortunately becoming victims of it.
Ehud Olmert, sir, we appreciate you being with us on Al Jazeera. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.